Believe it or not, I used to teach people how to use Facebook, for instance, for social media. I was like in love, enamored with it when it first came. So I was one of the early adopters.
Wow, I was against it.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah, I
well,
was
like
so
my husband
against
was
it.
too. He was like, "You're putting all your stuff out there. You don't know who's watching you." I'm like, "I don't care. I just want to be everywhere." Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Hey, Sold Out Sales community. Thanks for being here. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about really monetizing your social media. And in my language, that's like social media, sales for social media, and really utilizing it in a more intentional way and a way that really works for your business. So today I have my producer, Taylor Wellman, behind the scenes kind of chatting with me, and we're just going to walk through this and hopefully give you all some really great nuggets that will help you to be more intentional and to be more effective with your social media as it pertains to the way that you sell. And I'm going to tell you a little secret about me today that most people did not know or don't know, but you might be surprised to hear it. And you might be comforted because you might feel the same way that I did. So I tell you what, for me, social, when it first started, I was like, do you believe it or not, I used to teach people how to use Facebook, for instance, for social media. I was like in love, enamored with it when it first came. So I was one of the early adopters.
Wow, I was against it.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah, I
well,
was
like
so
my husband
against
was
it.
too. He was like, "You're putting all your stuff out there. You don't know who's watching you." I'm like, "I don't care. I just want to be everywhere." And Facebook was my happy place. And to be honest with you, it's really my safe place to this day. It's a place where I have the most friends, just in my
I still
profile.
treat Facebook as like the personal page still,
Yeah.
and then everything else is business.
And it's so funny because I don't. I do it all. I do it all on Facebook. And I love that people know that about me. They know that when they see Tish Times, they're going to see the Tish Times, the business leader. They're going to see Tish Times, the sales expert. But then they're also going to see minister or elder Tish Times in my church life. They're going to see mama Tish Times with my kids and my grandbabies, D-mommy Tish Times. And I'm okay with that. And I know that it's not for everyone, and there are some people who have a really strong stance about that, and that's okay. But I think that's what we're talking about today is where are you most comfortable and where you're going to have the most impact, right?
Yes.
Because for me on my Facebook profile, I'm not like hardcore sales on it, but guess how I've gotten clients on my social, just my profile. I'll say something like, "Hey guys, I'm looking for like 3 CEOs who want to step into their sales power. If you're looking to make, X amount of dollars in the next few months, or you're looking to increase your conversion by 25% in the next week, shoot me a DM." And believe it or not, I get sales from that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it's because people are watching me enough to where I think they know me, they trust me on that platform because I've been on it for a really long time. I'm on it pretty much every day, multiple times a day. And it works for me, but I know it doesn't work for everyone else, right?
It's true. And I think it's about finding where your audience is. And for you, you do work with a lot of women.
Yeah.
Facebook is traditionally a little bit more woman dominated. You also are probably working with people that are in your similar age group, which is also more on Facebook.
Very
so
true.
it does
Very
make
true.
sense.
It definitely does. Now, Facebook is not the only place where I play.
Good.
And I was actually one of those who was a little bit more resistant to Instagram for business, only because of the work that I do. I thought Instagram was going to be a platform that was really for people who had products.
Visual
products, yeah. People who were a little more, I don't know, either edgy or whatever.
It started as a younger demographic.
It definitely did, yeah. So it wasn't my playground at first, but now I'm as active on Instagram as I am on Facebook. However, I would dare say from a conversion perspective for my business, Facebook is still much higher for me than Instagram is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say for me, it's LinkedIn and YouTube. Those are the two where I get the most conversions.
So, well, let's talk about LinkedIn first, because LinkedIn for me, believe it or not, I was so afraid of LinkedIn. And I mean, for years. So I've had a profile on it since I started my company. I want to say I actually had a profile when I worked for the last corporation or last, company I actually worked for. But for me, using it like to engage people and interact and know that people actually want to even, not only get to know me, but actually make purchases from me on that, it took me a long time to get comfortable with that.
What was your hesitation on it?
Because, okay, in my mind, these are business people, like real serious business people. And I'm more laid back. I'm more like, I love having, fun on my social. Like I said, I love having like the interaction with my family and everything on social as well. And I know on LinkedIn that just felt a little more taboo. Like nobody.
It is true. You don't post stuff on your kids and your cats, and you really don't, which I liked.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I wanted to stay business focused.
Yeah, and so I just was like less likely to post over there. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I'll be honest, there was probably several years where I didn't post on LinkedIn. And if I did, it was only if I was doing something really businessy, like I was hosting an event or something like that. But, I just kind of had to make a decision and say, okay, this is where my clients are hanging out. And that's where I'm kind of wanting to go with this whole conversation. This is where my clients are hanging out. I got to get over myself and be where they are because they need me.
Exactly. It's not really about you. It's about them.
Exactly. Yeah. So that part right there was difficult. But check this out. What has happened is that now that I've been more consistent, and this is the thing I want you to kind of think about, because if you're like me and you're like, yeah, this is a scary place, I don't want to be there. Or if all this social media stuff feels a little scary or kind of intimidating to you, once I realized that I could still be myself, maintain the parameters that the platform really lends itself to, but I can still be fully myself and show up consistently, I am getting so much engagement. And some of it I see, of course, where people are like making comments or whatever, but the more important engagement is people reaching out to me directly and saying, hey, I'd love to talk to you more about such and such. I had a message when we came in earlier, say, hey, I want to talk to you about doing business with my clients, as company said, and for our company. I was like, yes. But that comes as a result of making that decision to just be fully present and to believe that there's someone on that platform that actually needs you, someone who's looking for you already. They may not know your name or your website, but they're looking for you already, and you just got to show up for them.
And, I know we had an episode with Sarah talking about, being comfortable being yourself. Yes. And, I think the same thing on online and offline. Yeah. You got to be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because we might think that, well, everybody loves such and such company because they do this and they do that. But there's someone for everyone. Just like we're talking about right now, you're like, I did not want to put all my business on Facebook. I'd much rather just stick to the business. There is someone that feels that way. There's many people who are like, yes, I work with Taylor because I love that she's this particular way. And there are people who say, oh, I work with Tish because I get to be me. I get to do this. I get to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's someone for every one of us. And if we're willing to recognize that and, like I said, show up consistently, professionally, and intentionally, we can make a big difference online. So you mentioned the one that you've actually pushed me into more. It wasn't even a matter of not wanting to be on YouTube. It was a matter of not knowing what the heck to do. I've been on YouTube for years. I had like 4 followers. And so I was like, well, this isn't working for me. And I just stopped it. So would you be willing to share first of all, what was the big draw for YouTube for you? And then how do you, of course, use it for all of your clients the way you do for me?
Yeah, so obviously in video marketing, you want to be on the #1 platform for video, and that is YouTube. It's been owned by Google since 2006, and so Google uses a lot of YouTube posts in its search results. Yeah. Even Bing and Yahoo shows videos from YouTube in the search results. And so it was really a no-brainer, to use YouTube. But in terms of how to monetize it for sales, since that is our conversation here today, it's about making everything search engine optimized. You can't just throw a video up and hope it sticks like a done pasta. Yeah. It's not. You need to make sure that you put, a search engine optimized title, the closed captions. Most tedious job out of the all the SEO steps, but so important. And we've even seen just with yours and your show, just how many more views you're getting, how many more impressions you're getting, click-throughs, and that's the whole point, is to have that conversion. And so for myself, I was able to, get clients from different states that I've never met before, but they resonated with some videos. They are my subscriber, and they said, you know what, I want to hire you for training.
Wow. And so it's like understanding that, again, the platform that you're on, if you're understanding that the people that are looking for you are there, get there.
Get there.
And then be willing to do what's required. So I personally, instead of me trying to figure out the whole YouTube, back end, we hired you. And so that might mean you might not want to spend all the time necessary or the effort required to learn the platform that you really need to be spending time on. But then you can go find someone like Taylor or a social media expert that can actually help you with those things. But don't shy away from it, because it's a great tool to be able to convert potential new clients. It's a great tool, at the very least, to have them learn to trust you, to see you consistently, to understand a little bit more about what you do. And the likelihood is lower. It's not impossible, but it's lower that they're going to buy on that first impression. But when they see you consistently and they understand more and more about what you do, then that's an opportunity for you to be able to make an offer.
And it's about filling out that search result. If someone is searching for sales techniques or sales coaching, the more videos, the more content you have tagged with sales coaching, and then someone searches that and then sees, wow, Tish Times. They're like, okay, well, I guess this is the only person I should talk to about this.
So very, very true. I mean, the way that we're thinking about this, I think from a entrepreneur standpoint, the person who's not technically savvy, doesn't really have an expertise in like video marketing or YouTube or things like that. Our thing is just throw the video up, right? Throw it up there and just hope, pray.
No, find a who, not how. Not how. I personally am not a TikToker. I think there's just too much going on.
Me too.
But obviously, being in video marketing, we need to be on TikTok and we need to be able to do TikTok. So I hire people to do TikTok for our teams.
Smart, yeah.
I hire people that enjoy the platform. And when I hire team members, I ask what platforms they personally like being on.
Yeah.
Because then I know if I put someone on Instagram because they love Instagram, they're going to know about the latest Instagram update.
Yes.
And so it's also important not only to be on the platforms that your audience is on, but to make sure that someone within your organization or someone you partner with, like an organization, likes that platform too, so they have a pulse on anything that's new.
I love that. That's so great. Have you ever gone to a networking event or a conference and found that although you made great connections and you walked away with a stack full of business cards, you still didn't have a real plan for how to get a good return on your investment of both time and money? Well, let me tell you, having a networking and sales planner is a way for you to be more intentional about the way that you network.
Hey, I'm Susan Gladstein. I'm a functional nutrition and metabolism specialist, and I got connected with Tish because she is a rock star at systems and sales, and so I downloaded the planner to help get my brain organized as I went through a rebrand and launched a new course, and it's really helped me sort of get things out of my head and onto paper so that I can actually do follow-ups and not just rely on my brain. So far it's rocking my world and making my business systems that were non-existent actually have some sort of structure. So I love it. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed.
I've been working with sales professionals for almost 15 years. And one of the things that I find is that when they don't have a plan, they do nothing. They sit at their desk and wonder what to do. Well, with this networking and sales planner, you have profit producing activities for every single day of the week. It tells you where to go, what to say, even gives you prompts as to how to interact with people that you don't know. If you're an introvert and you feel like this isn't for you, I have already thought of you because I understand exactly how introverts think. So this gives you the tools enabling you to be armed with words, with language, so that you can make your networking more profitable.
Hey everyone, Rachel Neighbors here from solo401k.com. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about how awesome this sales networking planner is that Tish put out. So as you can see, I have it on my Remarkable. That's my sort of e-ink planner. And this sales planner has been so helpful for me. So I'm an old school pay-per-click marketer. I do Google ads, Facebook ads, and I know how to turn advertising into profit. But I didn't know how to turn network sales into profit. And when I met Tish, this woman literally wrote the book on networking called, Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And she's put that experience and that energy and those valuable tips into this networking sales planner. And I just think that it can be so powerful for you in your business. I know it's been really helpful for me and mine. One thing that Tish told me is, Rachel, when you meet someone, put them into your planner and then follow up with them like they're a lead that you've generated on Google Ads or that you followed up with or that you've generated on Facebook. And that has been so helpful and transformative in my business. So thank you, Tish, for this awesome planner.
Maybe you don't even like networking. You say things like, networking doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, when you have a plan in place, you have some intention, and you have the tools to be able to make it work, you will see a different result. My new networking and sales planner is a game changer. It's the difference between you going to an event, wandering around and walking away without any purpose and without any new money, and walking into an event with a plan, with a purpose, and being able to convert new clients into your business. No one wants to feel inauthentic and pushy or even salesy when following up. So frequently we just don't do it at all. Well, the profitable follow-up formula, which is in the back of your networking and sales planner, will give you the tools and the language and the frequency with which you should be following up so that it feels very authentic. It feels genuine and natural both to you and to the people that you're reaching out to. Go to tishtimes.com/planner to get your digital or physical version of your planner.
Hi, my name is Cheryl James from CL James Consulting, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how awesome this networking sales planner is. I started intentionally networking at the beginning of this year, and I have been using my planner on a regular basis, not only to get inspiration, but to track the people I want to meet and the people I have met, and to make sure that I follow up with them from week to week. So if you are looking to network intentionally and hold yourself accountable, this planner is a must-have.
And once you get your planner, you'll also receive a video series that's going to teach you how to maximize your networking and how to use this planner to get the best result and best return on your investment of both time and money. If you are ready to stop wasting time with networking and turn your networking into a sales machine, then go to tishtimes.com/planner and grab your networking and sales planner. So I want to share a couple of things that I'm doing that have been really helpful and still keep me within my comfort zone. And when I say within my comfort zone, of course, I want to stretch and I want to do the things that make me uncomfortable. But when I say my comfort zone, things that I'm actually going to do. Because it doesn't matter how much you want to stretch yourself and you're saying, I'm going to try this. If you're not going to do it and you're not going to do it consistently and do it well, then it's almost like a moot point. So with LinkedIn, because I had such a adverse relationship to it, such an intimidation factor, I had to figure out, okay, what are the things that I actually love doing and will do consistently? I love to speak and I love to connect with people. So one of the things that has been a game changer for me on LinkedIn is, number one, doing some one-on-one connections in a way that's not sleazy, it's not slimy, it's not salesy.
So don't send someone a book in a DM.
Please don't. And God forbid, if you must send a DM and you must make an offer, please know who you're talking to. I hate when people send me a message and say, hey, I'd love to help you with your sales. We're a sales trainer. Ma'am, did you even look at my profile? Right?
The number of financial industries we help with all the time.
Yeah. I'm so sure with the name of your company. Her company is called Financial Potion because video is the financial potion, but people assume, I'm sure, that you're a financial company.
All the time.
Right? So it's like, do your research first and foremost. But I reach out to people with a pure intent and in a way that really draws them in. One of the best things that has drawn in new clients, new opportunities, and created some really great relationships is doing roundtables. Mm-hmm. And when I use LinkedIn exclusively to find people for my roundtables because people don't want to be sold, but they love to connect. If it's a genuine, authentic connection, they want to connect. And so my offer is to ask people to come in to our roundtable conversations, and they're very strategic. Now, this is gold. I will find someone, let's just say, for instance, for ease of conversation for this example. So let's just say I find a banker, a lawyer, a realtor, so it's like people who obviously need to be connected.
Strategic partners.
Yes, that don't already know each other.
Mm-hmm.
So those roundtables are very strategic with people who they're not already connected, at least not to my knowledge, and they need to know each other.
Wow.
And the magic that happens in those rooms is phenomenal. And the invitation specifically tells them, you can't sell, nor will I. So it takes all of that off the table right off the bat. But what happens, just miraculously, is that during these conversations, as we get to know each other and we talk, and I, try to have them have these more intimate conversations. So tell me about how you help people with sales, you know? And then the opportunity kind of arises in kind of organically, and I don't have to push a sell.
Naturally, because through curiosity, that's the thing. People who want to connect are
Yes.
naturally curious. And then what do you do when you're curious? You ask questions.
You ask questions, exactly. So I found a way to use LinkedIn in a way that feels really natural to me. It's very aligned with my brand, and I'll do it all the time, right? And I help clients with that as well, to create these things for their clients. And so, in other words, take your social media platform and figure out what's something that you do really well already and you love doing. Earlier, I had Sarah Gilliland, and she is a lawyer that specifically operates with, or she really helps people with trademarks and things in that kind of realm. But she's on Instagram. She's doing lives from her car. She's cracking us up. And that's just who she is. It seems a little like a lawyer that laughs. Yes, but she's found her lane, found her people, created a community, and people buy from her all the time as a result of the way she shows up on social.
And I bet she's enjoying those
she
connections
loves
more.
It. Absolutely. So bottom line is this. If you're going to be on social, yes, you can do all the weird and icky things that everybody else is doing, or you can find a way to show up in a way that feels good to you, will feel great to your audience. They'll receive you well. And once they get to know you and they understand that you have the solution that they actually are looking for, they'll buy from you. They will, right? So get more creative, get a little more unique with the way that you're selling, if you will, on social. If you've been in any of my sales trainings, you've heard this before, so I'm going to say it again. If you'll slow down your process, you'll speed up your success. Meaning, don't be so like, I got to rush in and try to get all the people to say yes, because it's going to turn more people off than it's going to cost to say yes. But if you'll slow that down, like the book, networking is not a one-night stand. You got to spend the time massaging the relationship, getting to know the people. Social is not much different than networking in real life.
Right.
It actually isn't. And so if I wouldn't walk up to someone for the first time in a room and say, hey, buy my stuff, then why would I do it on social? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I've heard that, unless you're willing to walk into a restaurant and yell to the whole room what you're saying, you shouldn't post it on social. It's the same thing. It's just if you're willing to walk into a room and yell it.
Yeah.
So free tips and value, people love value.
People will love it. Yeah. Hey, can I share something with you? So I would say come to the party with a gift, not with an ask. So if I come with, hey, I'd love to give you this, and people will say yes to that. If you ever pay attention to some of the most successful people on social, and I don't mean like the big names. I mean people that are probably in one of your communities. Molly Mahoney is one that I follow that I've known her for years. She's been here in Phoenix and spoken at an event that I was helping to manage the speakers for. But she does a really good job at, I've created this great asset that's going to help you with XYZ. You want it. And when I say the comments go, brrr, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. Guess what that is? That's an opt-in. It's only an opt-in. It's just a different way of presenting it. And people are saying yes to it. And eventually they say yes to more. And so find those ways that work for your audience. Again, that doesn't work for everyone, and nor would I advise everyone to do that. But find the ways that work well for you and are going to work well for the people that are already following you. And then do it over and over and over again. And pay attention to what they like, because like you said, things change. You got to figure out what's happening and then stay in the know in that world.
And keeping a pulse on what is the new and upcoming platform that could be good for your target audience is a way to kind of be the early entry, that first one on the game plan. So a way to do that, I don't know if you know about this tip, is to open your App Store or your Play Store and look at the top charts of most downloaded apps.
Ooh, that's really good.
Because then that's going to show you what people are downloading now. And so then that might, TikTok. Several years ago, TikTok was, in the top. I always look at the top 25.
Yeah.
And then I judge it and I'll search, every 30 to 60 days, be like, okay, did it move the needle? And then if it goes up, you're like, okay, this is gaining popularity. Do I want to play in it?
Yeah.
Explore. See if it's something that your audience seems to be resonating with. Like Blue Sky, the number of people that have gone there. And so, look in your app stores and see what's the up and coming, because then you might be the first one to dominate.
So true. And I mean, people, interestingly, for a multitude of reasons that we will not discuss here, some of it is very political, but for many reasons, people are leaving traditional social media because they just don't want to hear what's going on, right? And so they're moving to Blue Skies and places like that. And I also find that, especially if you have a service-based business, you can create a platform yourself. Meaning, if you use something like a Kajabi or High Level, you have a membership area. And believe it or not, if you have good content and good information there, people will come to you in droves as well. So it's like maybe not on the level that you're Meta. And to be honest with you, you don't want that. You want to have the captive audience of the people who are looking for you already.
Right.
So don't get kind of boxed into this is the only way I can communicate with people as it pertains to a social conversation. You can do it in different ways as well. Taylor, I want to ask you a question before we finish up today. What about the person who feels like they have to be on all platforms, doing all the things all the time? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, you definitely don't need to be on all platforms, because when you look at the statistics, there's different demographics and different people on the different platforms. So I always say it's not real unless it's written down. So write down a plan. Figure out, who is your target audience? Who do you like to work with? What is their age generally? What is their, economic level? That actually makes a difference. And there are statistics on the economic levels of who uses what platform.
Right.
Is it a B2B or a B2C business? That's a huge one. That's really going to guide you. And then once you have that data point, you can then pinpoint which are the best platforms. And then I always say just pick one and be consistent. Yeah. And then once you get, really consistent with that, you can add on and really delegate, add a team. Unless you enjoy social media and unless you are truly an expert in it, you shouldn't be doing it. You should be focusing on cutting hair, focus on, your landscaping business or sales. Yeah. And then have either employees or team members or partners do all those things once you identify where your audience is.
I love that. Very good. So again, I hope that you got something that was helpful for you. At the end of the day, do the thing that you're going to actually do. Do it consistently, or like Taylor said, find someone that can actually do it for you. I love my team. I would love to say that I sit and create all this great content. I don't do it.
I regularly say, people are like, you're everywhere. I'm like, no, my team makes me everywhere.
Exactly. So find the people who can make you look like you're everywhere. Because I get that comment all the time as well. It's like, no, I'm not. But I need to look like I'm everywhere for the purposes of growing my business and finding my people.
And when we say everywhere, where our audience is.
Yes, everywhere you should be, not everywhere. So I will see you all next week. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the comments and I will go through, read them, and respond to you and hopefully give you what you need. So see you next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I'd love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.